No flowers, no garden at all. You live like a dog.
A happy dog.
Viggo, I'll start with you. You're obviously no stranger to the Western genre, but this feels like something far different than what we normally see. It's not a gun-toting Western. It is a far more intimate character experience. When did you first come up with the concept for this, and how long had you spent developing it?
Well, 2020 is when I wrote this script. It started out just as a story of a woman who's had a strong interior life, very independent person, stubborn. And then I decided to place her in the West because I thought she'd have more obstacles. Society dominated by men, often unscrupulous men who are prone to violence to achieve their goals. And I thought that would create a bigger challenge for her, make it more difficult. And I like Westerns. I've been in some. I grew up watching them, like most kids my generation, on TV and in the movie theater. And so, that's something I looked forward to. Then it was just a question, as always, of finding the money, convincing someone that this story, which is, the idea was to make a classic Western that would look and feel like those old-fashioned movies I grew up with, but with a big difference in that Vivienne, played by Vicky, is the main character. And we focus on her childhood, also on her when her male partner that I play goes off to war. We stay with her, which is very unusual.
Well, I like that approach. It really does, like you say, it changes up the formula, and it introduces Vivienne in such a fascinating way. And so, Vicky, I'll turn to you next. I love how she has this sort of inner turmoil between her own agency and what she wants to do with her life, but also her love for Olsen and staying at the home he has. What is it like for you, or what was the biggest key for you in finding that sort of balance between those emotions?
Well, again, it feels very close to a woman nowadays, or like a woman like me. And I know I'm not the only one, but there's a lot of women now who want to be independent and I don't need a relationship and I don't need love. It's fine. I can just have this guy and that guy, and then you realize that's maybe not true, but maybe the truth is somewhere in between. And to me, playing Vivienne didn't really feel like playing. It felt more like allowing myself to show to others this inner turmoil that I carry with myself in my own life, and just not hide it. Usually we hide so many things about ourselves to pretend that we're strong and independent, and I'm this woman and I'm this actress and I'm very independent, I'm very strong. And I'm not, but I'm both these people, and Vivienne is both these people. And finally what wins her over, I think, is a deep sense of humanity, allowing yourself to say, well, I thought I was going to be alone, but actually now it feels like I'm not. And even though I don't know if it's the right thing to do, even though it feels crazy and maybe wrong, I'll do it,
Well, I love that you were allotted the opportunity to explore those personal layers through Vivienne in this film. It's just so well put together. Viggo, I'll turn back to you next. One thing I also find so intriguing is how it plays with time, and that it's a very non-chronological story. How challenging was that from the writing and directing perspective, sort of building that layer into the script?
It's the way it came out when I wrote it. And I shot it thinking of it in that way. And then in the editing, I moved a couple things around, but not too much. I kept that structure. There was one point during the editing where I thought, well, just to remove the doubt, any doubt I might have or anybody might have, I'm going to take 2 days and restructure everything so it's linear, So it's like all consecutive, it's a straight timeline. And I didn't like it as much, especially I didn't like the way I got to know Vivienne. I liked it more the way we had it, so I went back to that. And I think there's a lot of things I like about the structure. I mean, it's a structure that you see more often in books and novels, and literature. But I think nowadays people are a little more accustomed to it because there's a lot of series that do that, flashbacks and, a nonlinear structure, right? But I also like it when the audience is ahead of the characters. For example, there's a scene where Weston, the sociopath, young sociopath, he comes to visit her. And all she knows, she's seen him a couple of times at the saloon. She probably thinks, she keeps him at a polite distance. and he's behaving well, but she knows that he's kind of an arrogant guy who's full of himself. She's already seen that. What she doesn't know is what we know, is that he's a vicious killer and extremely dangerous. So when she says, would you like some cold mint tea? You're like, no, don't invite him to have tea, you know? Those things are interesting. I also like that in the beginning of the story, a whole bunch of people die. And because of the structure of the story, you get to know those people afterwards, and you get to understand, among other things, why they had to die. And I just found that was interesting. You appreciate the characters in a different way. You're like, oh, wow, I wonder when he's going to die and why. And then you start to realize why one character is used as a scapegoat because he can't defend himself, he can't speak for himself, etc. Or the piano player, why does he have, well, just jealousy, you know, because he's friends with Vivian. But those are things you get to know in a different way because of the structure. And I like that. When the audience is a step ahead of the characters.
Well, I'm glad you went back and kept it, because it really does just add this poetic layer to it that I loved. So thank you both so much for taking the time. I see I'm already out of it, so I will let you go, but I can't wait to get the word about it out there, because much like Falling, Viggo, I love this movie. So kudos to you both on it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you going out there and promoting us.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Appreciate it.
You have to tell me where you want me to plant your trees.
You're still a dog.